Pupco Studios in Oklahoma City. You're watching the Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Mike Sherman, sports editor, and a stand-in for the vacationing Barry Trammell this week. Let's get right to our We Pick 'em segment. We've got a bunch of different stuff, but it's all good stuff. And let's start with the NBA Finals. After 3 games, it's 2-1 Spurs. Who you got winning this thing, Mike?
I got the Spurs, but this is a wacky series. I mean, I remember way back in the 80s, it seemed like the Celtics and Lakers played an NBA Finals like this, where it was blowout on one side, and then it's sort of like a 100-point swing in 2 games. But right now, and Jenny, you said this, LeBron James is sort of trying to please so many other people instead of just taking over. He's passing up these shots, wide open shots at the elbow. Even though Tony Parker's hamstring creates a question, the Spurs seem to play through stuff like this better than most. I'd be most worried about Dwayne Wade, much more worried than I am about Tony Parker. I'm going with Spurs.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I still have the Heat winning this thing, and I can't quite figure out why I think that, because the evidence is really pointing the other way at this point. LeBron is in a serious crisis of confidence. I just, in my head, keep thinking he's going to bust out of it. He's going to go over the 20-point mark. He hasn't scored 20 points in the first 3 games. He's been under that mark in those first 3 games. Unbelievable the way he's fallen back sort of into the old ways, the old LeBron that we saw before last year when he was so dominant. So even though all the evidence points the other way, I just keep thinking he's going to get it together and the Heat are going to win this thing. But they got to win Game 4. To me, if they don't win Game 4, I change my opinion. It's to the Spurs. All right, what about this? NBA Finals MVP. Who you got in that race?
Well, that's a tough one. I mean, if LeBron is going to aim to please everybody but himself, he's not going to win it. San Antonio is going to win the series, and I'm going to have to go with Danny Green.
Wow.
Tim Duncan hasn't looked all that dominant. Danny Green is the leading scorer in this series, and the matchup with Dwayne Wade is prohibitively in Danny Green. This is a guy who was cut twice. I think he was one of those guys cooling out with LeBron James up in Cleveland. Remember when they used to fake like they were bowling and take all these goofy pictures? Look in the pictures. There's Danny Green. Pop didn't like all that stuff, cut him twice, and now I think he's the Finals MVP. He's playing better than anybody else right now.
Okay, so if I'm going to follow my prediction of Heat winning out the window, I got to go with LeBron because he's got to come on for them to win this thing. So he's my Finals MVP. Like I said, I keep thinking he's going to break out and get back to being the guy that he was a year ago, that dominant player against the Thunder. I just keep thinking it's going to happen. If it does, the Heat win. LeBron wins MVP. But Danny Green, he would deserve it at this point. There's nobody else playing as well as him.
He's getting his points from the three-point line and going to the basket.
Fantastic stuff. All right, what about this? The Stanley Cup Finals. Mike, who you got winning this one?
Well, I used to love the Stanley Cup Finals. And then 2 lockouts or whatever, 2 labor stoppages, and it's not baseball. I didn't grow up playing this sport. But this stuff is great. Another overtime game last night. The Blackhawks win. I got the Hawks. I got the Blackhawks. This is an organization that was once most poorly run in sports. Gives everybody hope. But I love the Bruins too. Love those 2 cities. Great. The originals. I'm going with the Hawks.
Yeah, our man Ryan Aber is a longtime fan of the Blackhawks, but he said he sort of dropped off for a while because he was so mad at how poorly they were run. So here they are back in the finals. A fantastic situation. But I'm going with the Bruins after Game 1, a 3 overtime thriller. Clearly, this is going to be a close series. I predicted the other day Bruins in 6, but I think it might go a full 7 games after the way that first one went. But this is an epic matchup. If you're not a hockey fan and you want to see what it's all about, watch this. I think it's going to be worth watching these Stanley Cup Finals.
Nobody plays harder than hockey players in the Stanley Cup Finals in any sport at any time.
And if it goes overtime, it's great. It's great drama. All right, what about this, Mike? The U.S. Open, golf's biggest event, I guess you could say. I think most people would say that is probably right up there. Who you got winning this thing?
The major's biggest party, right now being spoiled by the kind of bad weather we've had here in mid-America, hovering over the main line in Philadelphia. Great place. I used to live there. I used to live right around there. I'm going with Matt Kuchar, Jenny. Matt is the current occupier of the Phil Mickelson's Memorial Chair of the best player never to win a major. I say this is his time. Of course, there's lots of other people you could like. Luke Scott, I saw this thing that Luke Scott in the last 4 majors or 5 majors is 15 under par. Ooh. The next closest player, Tiger Woods, at 2 over. So he's 17 strokes better than the field in the last. It's hard to pick against a guy, but I'm going to go with Kuchar from Georgia Tech.
Well, I think dark horses and unexpected champions have become the way of the U.S. Open, but I'm going with Tiger. With Tiger looking like he's starting to return to form, you got to at least say he's the favorite in this thing. And who knows, maybe the weather ultimately is the champion of this U.S. Open because it's already wet, it's already a soggy course. You know, they're saying that that's really going to have an impact. And now on day one, it's already suspended play for a while. So who knows? But I'm going with Tiger.
I know this. It's not Luke Scott. It's Adam Scott. I did it. I did what I said I wasn't going to do. Luke Scott's a former Orioles and Oklahoma State outfielder. Adam Scott's the golfer I'm talking about.
He will not be winning the U.S. Open.
Not.
But Adam Scott sure could. All right, lastly, not an event, but it's a pretty big deal around here, Mike. Who is the Thunder going to take with the number 12 pick in the draft?
Geez, they're not taking my man from Maryland. They're not taking the big 7-footer. They're going to take a 7-footer, though, Jenny. I'm almost sure that they're going to go big here. I'm going with Steven Adams from Pittsburgh. I think he's young. He just played his freshman year, is coming out. He's got an New Zealand guy. Looks like he's got some good offensive skills. I watched his draft video, and I saw Sam Presti right in the background, sitting up there watching and pretending like he wasn't watching, but he was watching. Sam, you sly dog. There's a lot of 7-footers out there. I think this guy's got he's a better Byron Mullins.
Yeah, I think he's definitely one that they're looking at. But I'm going to go with Gorgie Jang. And I hope I said his name right because if he comes here, I got to get it figured out. But he's the Louisville center, a little under 7 foot, 6'11", but very athletic. I think all of these bigs that they're looking at would all be project type guys. But, when you think about it, the Thunder really hasn't drafted a center that they've sort of thought could be really great, could be their next center, and developed him. That's something that this franchise hasn't done, and as a franchise that really develops great young talent, I think they got a chance to do that. I think Zhang is a guy that could be that guy. Now, he speaks a lot of languages. Do they draft him so he can, talk to Serge and Thabo in French? I mean, maybe that's a winner. I don't know.
He's got the Thunder culture down too, Jenny. Apparently, he's just a guy, a man of the people there in Louisville. Rick Pitino loves him. John Rhodey wrote about this. You can see him fitting in well. I say he's 23 years old, which for a draft prospect might be a little bit old for Sam Presti. You said
too old for the Thunder? Is that the
him
problem?
and Nick Collison might be. They just go stand over there and have an old wise guys meeting.
Of course, Steven Adams, if he comes, then we get to hear the down under accent all the time. I'd be a fan of that.
I'm not going to try it.
Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.